What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another highly combustible reaction. We're jumping to the next one on our Casey Kilmore journey. Get over, show her all the love in the world. If you haven't done so already, check out the other content. She's absolutely hilarious. When Dutch gets funny, let's check it out. See what we got.
You know what I have always found really strange is when it comes to Australian animals in the Dutch language, they're not like super creative. Obviously, things like a kangaroo is kangaroo, koala is koala. Wallaby is wallaby.
That's not super
and
creative.
Then all of a sudden you get to platypus. And I remember asking my partner, Yessa, what is platypus? How do we say platypus in Dutch? I don't know why it was in the conversation, but it was. And neither of us knew. I obviously didn't know. And we Google translated it. Google Translate tells us that it's vogelbek deer.
A what?
Which blew my mind because it's so literal. But also, why would you choose a platypus to all of a sudden change the name of an animal? So it got me thinking about some of these really literal translations and how specific Dutch can be, and some of the weird words that they have to describe things and the weird sayings and what they actually sound like in English. So I wanted to give you a list of some of the funny words that I find and I come across in Dutch when the translations just sound so odd as an English speaker, and hopefully you can use it to pick up some weird vocab and remember some of these words a little easier.
We'll try.
And I want to hear from you guys. What are some weird sayings and things that just sound so ridiculous when you actually translate them into Dutch? Leave them in the comments because I'd love to read through them, and we will get into the video. So the first one I want to get to on the list is klokhuis.
Yeah, we know about the clock house.
When you are learning Dutch vocabulary, clock and house, they sound basically the same in English. So I feel like when I first was hearing this word, I would think, you know, like a clock tower or like a grand...
it was a common sense mistake that I made when they gave me that word. I was like, man, it must mean like a tower with a clock in it. That made sense.
Clock, like one of those clocks that stand in the hallways in old houses. Klokhuis is actually the name for an apple core. So this is super, super weird. And I guess when you translate it into English, or what like the meaning is, it kind of makes it sound so strange, but also just that really classic characteristic of Dutch of describing something exactly how it looks. Just like vogelbek deer and how an apple core takes on the shape of a clock house. So
I didn't even think about that. I mean, I guess you could kind of see a clock house in there, but that was the very first thing that came to my mind with that word. That was one of the words that they slipped me from the Discord, and I was like, yeah, it has to be a clock tower. Me and her on the same wavelength.
Number one weird word. More weird translations in Dutch is pindakaas. And pindakaas, pinda is peanut and kaas is kaas. And you learn that super early on when you're learning Dutch. So together they actually translate to peanut cheese. It's not peanut cheese, it's peanut butter. So pindakaas is peanut butter.
And it is delicious.
Another one of my favorites is patatje oorlog. Patatje oorlog is a combination of satay sauce, so like peanut sauce, and mayonnaise and raw onions.
Yeah.
On top of...
No. What the... Don't ever put that on none of my food. No patatje oorlog is coming anywhere near me.
On top of cheese. On top of chips. This is like my ultimate favorite combination to get from the snack bar. I love, love, love patatje oorlog. And I miss it that we don't have it here. But when you translate it, oorlog actually means war. So it's almost like you've named this flavor over like the battle between like choosing between satay sauce and mayonnaise. And why don't we have both and just order a patatje oorlog? No. Keeping with the theme of food, we have a capsulon. Capsulon is like a head salon, so like a hairdresser. That's what it's probably most known as, but it's also a food that you can order again from the snack bar. You have chips, and then you basically have like this deconstructed shawarma on top of it. So you've got like the shavings of meat and then a bit of salad, some garlic sauce, cheese, all of those things.
We could just leave out the salad altogether and I'm all for it. I like all kinds of kebabs and shawarmas
And again,
yeah.
amazingly delicious. But the confusion between calling it a capsulon and it actually being something that you can order is just a weird translation, a weird use of the word. I don't know how the two crossed over. If anyone knows the history of that, please let me know in the comments below.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
I'd
read
love
the
to know
comments.
why
I need to know
capsulon
too.
is called
Because it doesn't make
capsulon.
sense.
I remember a few years ago when I was celebrating New Year's in the Netherlands, and I was telling my mum, this is what we're doing, and oliebollen, and that's what you eat. And then I had to obviously translate oliebollen into English because I was having an English conversation with my mum. And then I was like, ew, oil balls.
Yeah, oily balls.
It's such a weird translation, and it does not sound delicious. And they are delicious. You obviously cook the dough in.
Probably not something I want to talk to my mother about eating
It's deep
either.
fried dough in oil, so I guess it makes sense. But to say like, oh, we were eating oil balls, just sounds strange, and
Very
it's
strange.
another weird translation from the Dutch language. Another funny literal word for things is handschoenen, means gloves. So when you take these words apart,
A hand shoe.
you know that hand is hand and schoenen is shoe for your feet. So
Yeah,
in
it's a hand
Dutch,
shoe.
they combine these two very little words to make hand shoes, which refers to gloves. Now, something you might hear often when you are learning the Dutch language is the term ezelbruggetje of ezelbrug. This is like when you have mnemonics or like a way of remembering something very easily. So you might have a Dutch teacher that uses this term, but it's kind of like making your own links between the two languages. When you translate ezelbrug of ezelbruggetje, it actually means a donkey's bridge. So when I was looking up the story as to why this became a popular term, I was reading a blog post and someone had said that donkeys are historically scared of water. So to try and get the donkeys who were carrying all of the cargo and things back then to cross across the canals, you would have to make these temporary bridges and small sort of like rickety ways to get
I like
from one
that
place
she did the history research.
to
That's
another.
what I like.
So that was kind of where the term became popularized, in getting your brain to go from one place to another by making this kind of makeshift link between the two. So once a donkey finds its way across, it will never forget. So going more into some sayings that sound quite funny when you translate them into English is the monkey comes out of the sleeve. So this in English, we have this like similar sort of concept, who let the cat out of the bag. And I guess that would sound quite strange to a lot of non-English speakers, but
It probably would. I don't really ever think about it. That's something that you say all the time. Oh, someone let the cat out of the bag.
when you translate these sayings back
I've never heard anybody except maybe the Discord say a monkey came out of your sleeve.
into your own language, they just sound so odd. And I have used this in Dutch. This is something that I've said in Dutch, and it's also something that I've heard in Dutch. And I don't think twice when I'm using the Dutch language, but when you like pull these things out of the Dutch language and put them into your own, they just don't make sense anymore, or they sound really strange and like they don't belong. If someone ever says to you in Dutch that je hebt iets onder de knie, so you've got something under the knee, it means that you understand it really well, or you're an expert in that field, or that you've
Of all the things that it could mean, we decided to go with you got something under your knee.
really understood the concept, or you just get it. You've mastered it. So I believe the first way of using this expression was when you had dominated someone in a fight. And the expression kind of slowly changed to really coming out on top and being a master of what you had just learnt. So another one that I've heard the Dutch use is met de deur in huis gevallen. So this translates
Definitely heard a
to
lot of
fall with
these
the
in the
door
Discord.
in the house. This is a saying that is describing to get straight to the point. So you don't kind of like wander
Beat around
in
the
and hang up
bush.
your coat and
Yeah.
or knock on the door. You literally just barge through with the door and you get straight to the point. The next one is talking about little cows and little calves. This in Dutch is said as praten over koetjes en kalfjes, which basically means you're not chatting about anything important. You're kind of
Over the cooches and calfias, proud.
just talking about nothing, or nothing in particular, or nothing that's interesting or so. Now, one I actually hear quite often is that you can't make any chocolate from it. And again, this sounds so strange when you translate it into English, but daar kan ik geen chocolade van maken. It essentially means that you are indicating that you can't really make any sense of what's going on, or that you're not really understanding what is happening. We have a saying like this in English when people say it's all Greek to me. So like, you just don't get what's going on. And in Dutch, they say, I can't make any chocolate from that. Now, there were so many examples and so many blogs that have been written by expats, and so many examples where I just thought, that just sounds so funny in English. And I will leave some of the links down below. There was
a lot of the sayings and little parables and things like that sound so strange on this side, but then you got to think about it. We got so many of our own that sound strange to everybody else. The Discord at one point was throwing them all out there, cookie of your own dough and a whole bunch of things, and I'm just like, what in the hell are you talking about? Falling with your nose in the butter? Like,
there's one blog that was fantastically illustrated, and they
worlds,
actually did like a literal translation by drawing what the words mean. So check out the description box. Again, if you have any like weird translations, animals are usually super, super strange in Dutch. They're super literal, like the schildpad. So like a shield toad, which obviously means a turtle. So let me know some of these funny translations in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
A whole bunch of weird things we've learned. We picked up some of the parables along the way. We repeat things in the Discord that we've heard, but there's so many out there that we constantly find new ones that we've never ever heard before, or that nobody has thought about saying, older things. I definitely appreciate this language journey that I'm on. I honestly feel like it makes me a little bit more mature in my thinking, because now I'm actually have something to focus on. It's something that I'm enjoying doing. If there's anything that we've missed or that you want to add down below, go ahead and add it. Get over, show Casey Kilmore all the love in the world. If you haven't done so already, go check out all of her videos. Smash the like button if you liked it, the dislike button when I won't believe you. Tell the next one about the Combustible. You guys be happy, healthy, safe. I love you to the moon and back. Peace.